Last month, Justin requested me on Patreon to review Raiders of the Lost Ark. So continuing with that theme, he has now requested me to review the next film about that famous archaeologist, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. I want to start off by saying I do like this film, and find it has several entertaining and inspired moments. With that said, I do have some major problems with Temple of Doom that stop it from reaching greatness for me. Starting with some of the positives though, the highlights do come from the various inventive action sequences. Steven Spielberg directed a lot of good ones, and even though many of these were actually recycled scenes that were cut out of earlier drafts of Raiders, he was able to modify them to fit this movie. The finale is especially good, with the minecart chase and the suspension bridge scene ending the movie on a high note. The film also begins with a bang with the Anything Goes musical number. This scene partly came about because of Spielberg's desire to direct a musical one day, and this was a way to see if he had the chops for it. That certainly proved to be the case, and it's an excellent way to start the film. It also immediately lets the audience know that Temple of Doom will be a different experience than Raiders. Spielberg was not interested in repeating himself and just doing the same film again, and well, he definitely managed to avoid doing that. Indiana Jones still remains a fun hero though, with Harrison Ford playing with a thirst for adventure. However, like with Raiders, Spielberg, Lucas, and Ford were not afraid of leaning into the goofier aspects of the character with some of the shenanigans he gets into. These are silly movies, and even though Temple of Doom definitely leans into the darkness, it also clearly has a sense of humor about itself. As expected, the production values are terrific, from the production design to the special effects to John Williams' excellent music. Williams has always been good at composing new music for sequels and prequels, and created plenty of wonderful pieces here. There are also some really nice matte paintings throughout the film, which actually had the involvement of a young David Fincher, back when he worked at Industrial Light and Magic. I admit that I used to find the character of Short Round to be really annoying, but he's grown on me in recent viewings. On the one hand, it's easy to see why I was irritated by him the first time I saw Temple of Doom. He shouts most of his dialogue and appears to exist as just the typical kid sidekick who follows Indy around. However, they have a nice partnership, and Ford and Ki Kwan do make their friendship believable. Although after watching the movie, I cannot help but wonder what happened to Short Round after the events of Temple of Doom, as he's never mentioned again. I don't know if he'll appear in the upcoming 5th movie, but it would be nice to hear an update on his life. So Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom is overall an entertaining and well-made movie in my opinion. What doesn't work for me? Well, my biggest issue is definitely with the character of Willie Scott. I find her to be an incredibly annoying character, with most of screen time spent on screaming and whining. The idea of her being a pampered nightclub singer who gets thrown into this adventure wasn't a bad one on paper, but I think they went the wrong direction by making her completely insufferable. When Indy starts having romantic feelings for her, you sit there thinking, why? Because none of her scenes up until that moment make her the least bit endearing. Even Kate Capshaw has said she does not like the character. Temple of Doom is also a surprisingly slower paced film compared to the other movies in the franchise. I understand Spielberg wanted to make something more atmospheric with this entry, and I think he's able to do that. However, the middle portion is strangely devoid of action compared to Raiders, which gave us one action scene after another. After the raft sequence, it takes a good long while before Indy gets into a fight or tries to make a daring escape. It's a credit to Spielberg's direction and Ford's performance that the movie still keeps my attention. A lot has been said about the film's depiction of Indian culture and how it's not exactly the most respectful portrayal. I don't think Spielberg and Lucas were being purposely malicious with their intentions, but they do go a tad overboard, especially the dinner scene at the palace. Spielberg did feel bad for offending Indians with this film, and as a result, after Temple of Doom, anytime he's made a movie centered on a culture different from his own, he has hired consultants in order to avoid this. Spielberg actually has a low overall opinion of the movie himself, with him stating that he thinks the dark tone was the wrong way to go, and finding the child slavery scenes especially difficult to watch. Nonetheless, many of those dark scenes are certainly unforgettable, especially the infamous heart-ripping scene. It also must have been quite the leap for Spielberg to go from directing a sweet story about a young boy who befriends an alien to this really dark movie full of scenes of human sacrifice and child slavery. However, once Indy jumps into action to save those children, and Williams plays that classic theme, it's easy to be delighted. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom is thus able to be a solid blockbuster with enough charming moments to overcome the more grisly and irritating scenes. Now let me know in the comments what you think of Temple of Doom, and thank you for the request, Justin.